Conditions for Hardy-Weinberg. For a population to be able to fit into the Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium equation, meaning the population is not evolving, the following conditions must be met. Populations have to be extremely large, there must be no gene flow, there are no mutations, mating is random, and there is no natural selection. You could think of this as flipping a coin. Ideally, you would expect a coin to always end up on heads half of the time and tails half of the time, but if you were to flip a coin 10 times, there's very little chance that you would actually get it exactly 5 times on heads and 5 times on tails. It's more likely to happen if you flip it 1,000 times. Then you're more likely to get closer to 500 heads and 500 tails. Likewise, for populations, you need a large size to have the ideal probability. Condition number 1, large population. Populations must be extremely large. In real life, populations tend to be smaller. They are localized in groups. The reason for the large size of a population is to ensure no genetic drift occurs and causes the allele frequencies to change. In real life, this cannot hold true. Condition number 2, no gene flow. No gene flow can occur in a population working within the Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium. Migration cannot be occurring. In real life, you cannot stop organisms from migrating in and out of different populations. Real-life populations do not have fences around them. You cannot stop gene flow, the introduction or taking away of genes in a population, from happening. In real life, this cannot hold true. Condition number 3, no mutations. Unfortunately, there is no way to ensure no mutations occur in a population. Species have built-in mutation rates that help them gain and keep genetic variability. Remember, mutations can be driven by the environment, a result of a copying mistake made by DNA or RNA enzymes, or inherited. In real life, this cannot hold true. Condition number 4, random mating. In Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium, mating must be random. However, in real life, most animals choose their mates. It is almost always the female that chooses. This is why males in the animal kingdom tend to be prettier and more ornate than females. This is especially true for birds. The male birds always tend to be prettier and have the more elaborate feathers. Having ornate features sends a signal to the female that the male has good genes, and therefore the female will then mate with the male. Random mating can be considered in plant populations, but for the most part, in real life, this cannot hold true. Condition number 5, no natural selection. No natural selection. In real life, how can you stop the environment from choosing the best fit and best adapted organisms? You can't. There is no way to stop the environment from changing. There will always be floods, droughts, volcanoes, infections, fire, deforestation. In real life, this cannot hold true. Used for comparison. Therefore, no real-life population is ever found to be in Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium. This is because real-life populations are always evolving. Some populations definitely evolve faster than others, but every population still evolves to some extent. This might sound strange, but the reason for using Hardy-Weinberg is to set up conditions for fictional populations. By doing this, we can use it as a comparison to see the reasons for evolution in real populations. Comparing allelic frequencies. Using the Hardy-Weinberg equation, you will find the allelic frequencies, P and Q, in a population, then compare those frequencies from one generation to the next. One of two things can happen. If the allelic frequencies, P and Q, change from generation to generation, there is evolution and the population is said to be out of Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium. Or, if allelic frequencies, P and Q, do not change from generation to generation, there is no evolution and the population is said to be in Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium. But as we mentioned before, this scenario usually doesn't happen. Populations are always evolving. Some populations may be close to not evolving, but they're really all evolving in some way, even if it's just a little bit. We'll see some frequency change of P and Q from one generation to the next. So it's really more of a comparison.